You walk into a hospital. Behind you, 3 bills slide out of a hidden slot. Each one sprouts tiny legs. A red stamp slams down on 2 of them, illegal. The 3rd bill keeps running. Since January 1, 2022, that's actually how it works. Kind of. A federal law called the No Surprises Act made certain surprise medical bills illegal. Not all of them, just some. And the one that's still legal might be the most expensive one you ever get. Before this law, if you went to an in-network hospital and some doctor you never chose was out of network, that doctor could bill you directly for the difference between their rate and what insurance paid. That's called balance billing. It was legal. People got $50,000 bills from anesthesiologists they never met. That's not a story. That's thousands of real humans shocked by their mail. So Congress passed the No Surprises Act. It bans balance billing in 3 specific situations. Only 3, everything else is still a game of financial dodgeball. Situation 1, emergency care. If you go to any emergency room, even an out-of-network one, you're protected. You only pay your regular in-network copay or deductible. The out-of-network facility has to eat the difference. There's a formula behind it called the qualifying payment amount. That's just the median in-network rate insurers pay for that service in your area. You don't need to know the math. You just need to know the bill can't land on you. But here's where it gets interesting. Post-stabilization care is also covered. You're in the ER, they patch you up, then they move you upstairs. That's still protected. Unless they hand you a specific form and you sign away your rights. And we'll get to that form. It's a trap. Situation 2, out-of-network providers at in-network facilities. You pick an in-network hospital, you do your research. Then the anesthesiologist, radiologist, pathologist, or assistant surgeon turns out to be out of network. Before 2022, you'd get a separate bill from each one. Like a pop quiz you didn't study for. The law says no. Those ancillary providers cannot balance bill you. Your wallet is safe. The invisible anesthesiologist can no longer surprise you with a bill. Situation 3, air ambulances. Helicopters and fixed-wing emergency flights are covered. Those bills used to be insane. $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 for a 20-minute flight. Now you just pay in-network rates. If you're conscious enough to be terrified of the bill while they're loading you in, at least that terror is now outdated. That's it. 3 categories. Emergency care, out-of-network at in-network, air ambulance. The law draws a red line around these and says the bill stops here, but the line has a hole, a big one, shaped like an ambulance. Ground ambulances are explicitly excluded. Completely. A 5-minute ride to the hospital can still generate a surprise bill, and those rides are common. They're the most likely emergency transport. The law just shrugged at them. Why? Because ground ambulance services are often run by local governments or private companies that lobbied hard to stay out of the law. They argued it would mess up their funding. So now your neighbor who calls 911 for a stubbed toe can get a $3,000 bill, and that's perfectly legal. So the bill with legs that's still chasing you, that's probably a ground ambulance. It slips through the loophole while the helicopter bill is stopped dead. Now, about that form, the notice and consent form. In some non-emergency situations, you can agree in advance to get out-of-network care and waive your protections. You sign, you pay more. But you cannot sign away protection for emergency services. And you cannot sign away protection for those ancillary providers we mentioned. So even if they hand you a stack of fine print and you scribble your name, the anesthesiologist still can't balance bill you. They can try. The law would call that illegal. So treat that form like a suspicious terms of service update. Read it, or just know it can't bite you in an emergency. What if you're uninsured or paying cash? The law has a thing called the good faith estimate. Before any scheduled service, the provider must give you a written estimate of what it'll cost. If the final bill is $400 or more above that estimate, you can dispute it. $400. That's the magic number. It's a new tool. It's not perfect. But it's better than the old system, which was just a bill landing on your head like a piano. And if you do get an illegal bill, you can fight it. You file a complaint with the federal government at CMS or with your state insurance regulator. The provider and insurer then go to independent dispute resolution. That's a fancy way of saying they fight it out while you wait. You're held harmless in the meantime. You don't have to pay the illegal part. The process is slow. Medical associations keep suing over the rules, but you have a path. So what have we learned? If your bill is for emergency care, out-of-network providers at an in-network hospital, or an air ambulance, it's likely illegal under federal law. Dispute it. If it's for a ground ambulance, the law won't help you. You can still negotiate or run for local office and change the law, but the federal shield isn't there. The No Surprises Act is a huge step. It stopped the worst kinds of surprise billing, but it left a giant loophole on wheels. So check your bills. If one has legs and it's still chasing you, ask yourself, is it one of the three? If not, especially if it has a siren and 4 wheels, be very suspicious. And if you're not sure, complain anyway. The worst they can say is no. The best is you kill the bill before it reaches your door.